Okay, so this is my major assignment. My name is Jake Verbeck. So, Chapter 1 Introduction to the Management of Information Security. We look at the CIA triad, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, this is important because it's the three fundamental principles that form the foundation of securing information and data. Confidentiality refers to protecting sensitive data from unauthorized access. This is achieved through measures such as encryption, access controls, and secure communication channels. Integrity refers to the accuracy, completeness, and trustworthiness of data through its life cycle and preventing unauthorized modifications or deletions of data. This is achieved through techniques like checksums and digital signatures. And availability ensures that information and data is accessible to authorized users. It involves preventing disruptions, downtimes, and denial of service attacks. IT infrastructure, disaster recovery plans, and contingency plans can cover this. Moving on to Chapter 2, we look at compliance, law, and ethics. What I found significant is the difference between policy and law. They both function in similar ways, but the key difference is ignorance of the law is not an excuse, but ignorance of policy is a viable defense. So this is significant because violating policy does not carry the same weight as violating law. Ignorance of policy can be countered with security, education, training, and awareness programs, which is called SETA, that they design, publish, and disseminate policies, and employees must agree to abide by them. Things like reminders, training, and awareness programs can possibly prevent ignorance of policy. So then moving on to Chapter 3, we look at governance and strategic planning for security. We look at the Systems Development Lifecycle, or the SDLC, and the Security Systems Development Lifecycle, or SEC-SDLC. This is significant because the SDLC is a methodology for designing and implementing information systems. The use of a methodology like the SDLC brings rigor to the systems development process. It entails a series of defined procedures and stages, ensuring that each step is thoroughly executed. This structured approach minimizes errors, enhances quality, and helps manage risks throughout the development lifecycle. It also focuses on achieving the desired final objectives, such as fully functional and reliable information systems that fulfill organizational needs. The Security Systems Development Lifecycle, or the SEC-SDLC, is an adaptation of the traditional SDLC, which supports the specialized implementation of security projects. These involve identifying threats and assessing the associated risks they pose to the organization. And by applying the SEC-SDLC, organizations can address security concerns throughout the development lifecycle, ensuring that appropriate controls are designed and implemented to counter those threats and effectively manage risk. Moving on to Chapter 4, which is Information Security Policy, we look at Enterprise Information Security Policy, or EISP, which are basically guidelines for the approach of information security policy. It's significant because it provides a comprehensive and proactive approach to information security. It helps organizations manage risk, comply with regulations, respond to incidents, things like that. By implementing an EISP, organizations can enhance their security posture, protect valuable assets, and ensure the continuity of their operations. Moving on to Chapter 5, we look at developing the security program. Information security roles and titles, and I found this significant because it defines the information security roles and gives readers an idea of the InfoSec position they may want to work towards in their professional career. These jobs consist of things like the Chief Information Security Officer, or CISCO for short, security managers, security administrators and analysts, technicians, security staffers and watchstanders, security consultants, security officers and investigators, and help desk personnel. And all these positions can be broken down and put into three different areas. Is those that define, those that build, and those that administer. Moving on to Chapter 6, we look at risk management, identifying and assessing risk. Identification and prioritization of risks is what we're going to look at. And this is important because risks must first be identified in order to be protected against. Prioritization of information assets is important because the significance of different types of information should be assessed and the level of protection for each asset be determined based on the value and potential impact on the organization. In Chapter 7, which is risk management, controlling risk, we look at feasibility and the cost-benefit analysis. This allows organizations to evaluate the financial and economic implications of risk. So placing a dollar value on assets is crucial for risk management. By assigning a tangible value, organizations can assess the possible impact of security incidents or data breaches. This helps organizations decide the cost effectiveness of security measures and determine the level of protection needed for different assets. So calculating single loss expectancy and annualized loss expectancy allows organizations to perform cost-benefit analysis by comparing the potential loss from security incidents against the cost of implementing protective measures. Organizations can make decisions that strike a balance between risk reduction and cost efficiency, and this analysis helps identify cost-effective security measures and ensures the investments align with the value of the asset at risk. Chapter 8, we look at security management models, and we look at the information security governance framework. So it is crucial for effectively managing and securing an organization's information assets. It involves establishing policies, procedures, and controls to ensure that information security objectives align with business goals and regulatory requirements. The Information Security Governance Framework provides a structured approach and the best practices for organizations to develop a robust governance structure, including defining roles and responsibilities, establishing accountability, and implementing appropriate controls. The Information Security Governance Framework highlights the importance of establishing a comprehensive governance structure within an organization, and it emphasizes the significance of aligning security practices with business objectives and regulatory requirements. In Chapter 9, we look at security management practices, and we look at benchmarking, and I found it significant because it causes organizations to look at other businesses and align their practices with the industry standards. Benchmarking and information security, the significance really lies in its ability to drive continuous improvements and ensure that security practices are aligned with the industry standards and best practices. By comparing the security measures against benchmarks, organizations can identify areas for enhancement, implement appropriate controls, measure their progress over time, and adopt minimum levels of security as due diligence. It promotes a proactive approach to security by encouraging organizations to strive for higher levels of protection and efficiency. In Chapter 10, we look at planning for contingencies, and I found the 4 major components of contingency planning the most significant portion, and that is business impact analysis, incident response, disaster recovery, and business continuity. So BIA assesses the potential impact of an incident on an organization's resources and assets and quantifies the potential financial and operational consequences of disruptions. Incident response provides a structured approach for containing incidents, minimizing their impacts, and restoring normal functions. Disaster recovery focuses on restoration and recovery of critical systems, data, and infrastructure. It includes strategies, processes, and procedures for recovering data, rebuilding systems, and resuming operations. And the business continuity plan ensures that organizations can continue its essential functions and operations during and after a disruption or crisis. In Chapter 11, we look at personnel and security, and the significance is found in the certifications. So certifications are one of the most surefire ways to prevent resume fraud and increase the likelihood of hiring a competent InfoSec employee. The CISSP is widely regarded as a benchmark for experienced InfoSec professionals. The CISM certification demonstrates a candidate's ability to manage, design, and assess a company's information security program. The GIAC certification demonstrates expertise in specific areas of information security and are highly regarded within the industry. And the CompTIA Security Plus is an entry-level certification and validates foundational knowledge. Looking at Chapter 12, we look at authentication, which is validating users' authenticity is one of the most important parts of information security. So authentication refers to the process of validating a user's identity to ensure they are who they claim to be. It's a crucial protection mechanism in information security, and there's three main factors in authentication, which is what you know. So this factor involves knowledge-based authentication, such as passwords, pins, or secret questions, where the user provides something only they should know. Then there's what you have. This factor involves possession-based authentication, such as smart cards or mobile devices where the user possesses a physical object required for authentication. And then what you can produce. This factor involves inherence-based authentication, specifically biometrics, where the user's unique physical or behavioral characteristics, such as fingerprints, a retina scan, or voice, are used for authentication. The significance as a protection mechanism is that it highlights the factors used for authentication, which is what you know, what you have, and what you can produce, and emphasizes the importance of combining multiple authentication methods for stronger security. And that is everything.